Hey traders, listen up. Today we're going to dive into one of the simplest yet most powerful tools in your trading toolbox, trend lines. I know, trend lines are highly debated and many traders say they have no place in crypto trading. But I'm going to show you that you can really use these for trading. If you don't believe me, take it from a highly respected trader, Tori Trades. She makes a living of solely trading trend lines in the futures market. So what are trend lines exactly? Trend lines are lines that connect highs and lows in the chart. They indicate whether the market is in an uptrend or in a downtrend. You connect the higher lows in an uptrend or the lower highs in a downtrend. Now, how do you draw these magical lines? It's simple. Let me show you an example. So as you can see, I'm currently on the day chart, and what I can do is I can draw trend lines based on the lower highs and higher lows. So for example, if we want to say that we're in a downtrend, what I can do is I can pick the highest point here, and then I can select it down to the other points. And as you can see now, we have quite a few touch points right here, making it a really good trend line to spot the downtrend. And for the uptrend, we can either start down here, go up to this point, or you could even say this was just such a big wick, I'm gonna take the next one. And that's it. That's how you draw trend lines. But that's all very nice, but how do you actually create a strategy based on this? I can't trade on this, so let me show you exactly how Tori Trades would trade these markets. So if I remove these drawings for now, and I zoom out all the way. So remember, we're still on the daily chart. So what you can do is you can start by going back all the way as far as you can to the first lowest point that you could draw a trend line. And then you connect it to the next lowest point, right here. So this is the first big trend line. And maybe somewhere in the future, it would actually retouch this. But that would take a very, very long time. So we're not going to wait until the price goes down there. What we can do is we can actually draw more trend lines on a steeper level. So to keep it simple and easy for ourselves, let's just give this one a color. So let's say it's now green as it's going in an uptrend. Then the next trend line that we could easily see is from this point on, next to these low points. So what you can see is that I'm drawing it from the next lowest point or the touch point from the previous one. And then I find another touch point in the future. So I'm not going to go back, I'm only going to go forward. And now as you can see, the trend line is steeper and the price may soon or sooner reach this line. So it will break through this line first before it reaches this one. But now let's zoom in a little bit further and we can actually draw more trend lines. We can go in even steeper. We can't go in this one because that's already broken. We can't go in this one because that's also broken. So the next point would be right here. And now it's becoming more likely that the price might reach this trend line at some point in the near future. But can we draw even more? I think we can, because we can see one right here and we can connect it to this one. And we're not going to be actually trading on this time frame, but we're just drawing out the major trend lines that we see. And a trend line is just as simple as 2 points. We're not going to find the ones with the most touching points for now, but at least 2 points will draw the first trend line. But 2 points will draw a trend line that we can use on this time frame. And the last one that we could probably draw is from here to here. So now you can see we have these laser rays already on the chart, but still no strategy. So we can do the same for the upside. Now if we go all the way back and we take the highest point from the all-time high, that was fairly recent, and we can put it to the next lower high. Now we can also do these for the downtrends. So we find all the way in the past, we find the highest point, the all-time high, which in this case is on this point. And we connect it to the lower high that follows the all-time high. So in this case, this would be the first touch point. I can zoom in a little bit to say, okay, so it should be there. And to indicate a downtrend, it's easier to put it on the red. So you can clearly see this is the downtrend that we're currently trading in. Now we can draw another one. So same as what we did on the uptrends, we can do it for the downtrends as well. And even further, so we take the next touch point and we draw it like that. Now all these trend lines, we're not going to be trading them all, but we're just going to keep them in for references when we go on to the lower time frames. And the last one that we could probably draw is right here. And as you can see, it's almost starting to break out on this trend line. Now we're done on the 1-day chart. So what we can do now is that if we're trading on a lower time frame, we can actually go down in time frames. So we'll go to the 4-hour. Now that we're on the 4-hour, most of the lines that we drew before are actually quite hidden because they're all the way in the past. So if we zoom in, then we get more and more relevant trend lines. So on the 4-hour, I don't actually see anything else that we can draw. We can just slightly adjust them to make them a little bit better on the touch points, but don't worry, we're actually looking for a decent breakout, so the absolute exact point doesn't really matter, as long as it's touching well enough. Now we're done on the 4-hour chart, and then we can move to the 1-hour chart if that's what we're going to be trading. And I can slightly adjust this trend line to touch right here. So as you can see, the price moved down and actually touched this trend line, and then bounced off the trend line all the way up to this trend line, and it's starting to get rejected, but only slightly. So it only pulled back a little bit, and it's now turning towards this trend line. So can we draw a steeper trend line on the 1-hour? Well, we can, right there. As you can see, it touched this trend line now, and then it's moving up. So let's see how that works. So now we see that the trend line is broken and the price closed below the trend line. So we can actually do a sell. Now the price is moving down, touches the trend line, and it's forming a new high. So what we can do is we could move this trend line down here, make sure that we have a new safety line. And if the price breaks out this trend line, then we can sell, or then we can close this position. Now, as you can see, our break even is right here. So we would be in profit if this price breaks through. So now you can see that the price is clearly broken through this trend line, and we can close the position. And then we would have a nice profit. Then we adjust our trend lines so that we now have this one and this one, and we could continue on to the next. Okay, the price is now broken through this trend line, and it was a down trend line, so we can go in a long position. So we can buy some, and then we can go up. This is our safety line, so as long as the price stays above this line, then we're okay. And look at that, this is a crazy bounce. And this is exactly why trend lines can work. We continue to ride it out, and it's now breaking through this trend line. And what you can do now is you can draw a new trend line from this point to this point. This means that this safety line is now no longer in play, and we would actually make sure that we can exit the trade quicker if the price tends to return on us. So let's see how that would play out. Now we're closed below this trend line, so we sell our position. And as you can see, the profits are starting to ramp up. Then we adjust our trend lines, so this one's no longer in play. It was touched. We can remove this one. We can remove this one. And we have to move this trend line to the new recent high. And then you continue. So you can do this on any time frame, and you can use the replay function to test it out, just like we've done here. And as you can see, there really is profit to be made. All right, now it's your turn to fire up those charts and start drawing some trend lines. And hey, if you're serious about leveling up your crypto trading, why not sign up for Altrady? With our tools, you'll be drawing trend lines like a pro and spotting opportunities you'd otherwise miss. So click on the link in the description, sign up, and start enhancing your trading strategy today.